So hello and welcome back to the UCI 2025 Cyclo-cross World Championships from Liévin in France. It is our second race of day 3, our penultimate race of 3 days of competition. It's our women's under 23 competition, and we have our defending champion Zoe Backstedt in action. Just seen her warming up just down in front of the commentary box here in Liévin, in front of all of the fans. In fact, all of that race field really doing the laps as they make the way around. Backstedt taking that win in Tabor. One of the only riders to come back, one of our medalists to come back and race once again in the under 23. She has the possibility of taking actually the one of only 2 riders who could potentially take a second title here in the under 23. Evie Richards actually taking 2 titles in this previously. Of course, exactly the same as all the rest of the races over the weekend, with 2 halves to the course either side of the pit, essentially. We have the western side to the left of your screen and the eastern part of the course to the right of your screen. The start-finish straight, 200 metres long, and made of tarmac or asphalt, and it's uphill quite a lot, and it's enough to separate the riders. Now, we started off the day at -3. You can see there's been a 7-degree temperature change. We've gone from -3 to 4 degrees C, and in the men's junior race, it was an absolute barnstormer. We saw the riders having to deal with conditions that changed from bone, dry and rock hard and frozen through to muddy, slippery and greasy by the mid-race distance. By the end of it, really starting to cut up and be incredibly difficult. It was a race full of accident and incident, and we expect the same here today, although there is a more clear-cut favourite in the shape of Zoe Backstedt, the aforementioned Zoe Backstedt, quite simply because she's been racing so strongly in the elite women's race field. It is a big race field of 45 riders of 19 nations here today, and those riders at the moment just completing their warm-up. The riders called up, the first 2 rows on the grid are in World Cup order. The rest of the riders then in world ranking, in the UCI ranking. All the riders subject to the checks and the verifications of our race commissaire panel, who are going to be making sure that all of our riders follow those rules and making sure that all of the bikes comply as well. You'll see that there is a commissaire in the tan trousers and the blue jacket with what looks like an iPad. It's actually making sure that there's no motors in the bike. It's one of those checks that are done. All the bikes checked, the widths of the handlebars and so on. All of those rules, all about making sure that it's fair and safe competition for our riders, and of course making sure that we come out with the correct result. So a big start list here today. As I said, 45 riders, 19 nations, 4 riders from Great Britain, 2 from Belgium, 6 from France, 2 from Czechia. Canada represented by 4 riders here today with the withdrawal of Eva Holmgren, 2 from Italy. The United States have 6 riders on the start list, 5 for the Netherlands. Luxembourg have 1. Japan, well, both their riders rode in the team relay, taking part on that on Friday, and then also 1 rider from Austria, 1 from Spain, Switzerland, Germany, 2 from Slovakia, and then 1 rider from Ireland and Hungary, Romania with 2, Albania with 1. So our grid all drawn up behind the tape just to keep the riders in the correct order. The front row, though, will be taken down to the front of that grid, and they will slot their way in at the very front. The top 8 riders on ranking in the World Cup Series. Now, in the World Cup, if you've been watching the World Cups, then you'll know that the women ride with the elite in the under-23 competition, so we don't often get to see them within their own category. So Zoe Backstedt making her way down now in terms of under-23 competition. She took top spot in the under-23 competition 7 times in the World Cup, 3 second places and the 3rd, 244 points from her season. Marie Schreiber, 5th last year at the World Championship, 3 wins, 4 second place in the 3rd place in the under-23 competition in the World Cup, 205 points. Also contesting all 11 rounds. Leonie Benfeld, third in the World Championships, bronze medalist in 2024, and the rider third overall in the World Cup. 2 second places, 7 third places for Leonie Benfeld in that World Cup season so far. 12 races on the calendar, 11 races contested in total. Celia Sherry, the junior champion from 2024, moves up into the under-23 competition. 1 second place and a third place in the World Cup. A shortened season, only 8 races in the World Cup season for her. Isabel Holmgren, a 4th place in 2024 in the under-23 competition. But of course, a rider that we know is going to figure very, very strongly. A 2nd place in the World Cup this season. 4 of our riders actually riders in the under-23 competition last year. 4 of the riders, 50% of the field, moving up from the juniors, including Victoria Schladenova, the bronze medalist from 2024 in the junior competition. Just making her way down to the line. We'll see what the world champion mountain biker can do. And the cyclocross here today, shown with that bronze medal, that she's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Imogen Wolf from Great Britain, the next rider down, up, an ultimate rider down to the grid. 8th in the junior competition last year, riding for the Visma Lisa bike with the distinctive yellow and black helmet. She has been a familiar figure on the World Cup circuit this season, completed 7 races. And Amélie Muller, the rider who took 11th in that junior competition last year. Home rider from France on the front row alongside her countrywoman Celia Jarry. She has completed 5 of our World Cup races. So having to find her place, the first rider down on each row of the grid gets to choose exactly where they get to go and which position they want to be in. You can see Backstedt there in the colours of Great Britain, the defending champion, alongside Mary Schreiber, the rider with what has been reckoned for a long time to be the fastest start in cyclo-cross. She has taken that back a little bit over the course of the season and then concentrated on having more power later on. But it has to be said, today we are likely to see a battle between Backstedt, Schreiber and Benfeld at the front of this race, but do not discount Sherry, Holmgren, Schladenova, Wolf and Muller. And in fact, a whole host of riders in the second row, people like Vida Lopez de San Roman, who was 6th in the junior championship last year, the national champion of the United States of America, Katerina Dudarova, as well. Another rider who cannot be discounted. And if the race showed us anything in the men's junior race, anybody could be up there at any point, at any time in this race. There was a lot of slips and slides. One rider to watch out for, just seen just behind them between Leonie Benfeld and Isabella Holmgren, the rider from Great Britain, Kat Ferguson, the rider who took 2nd place in the silver medal in the Junior World Championships last year, moving up to the under-23. Another rider who has been racing strongly in the elite and under-23 World Cup. Had a big tumble at Holst, made a comeback into the back end of the season. We'll see what she can do. Mary Schreiber on the comeback from injury. The rider from Luxembourg could well be the rider who's going to challenge in these early stages. She's just got to keep it together all the way to the end of the race. Schreiber not finishing the race at Hoogerheide. So the field assembled. That 200-metre start-finish straight awaits the climb up to the right-hand turn and the first trip and foray onto the grass and mud. The riders are ready. The tape will be withdrawn. The lights will turn from red to green, and we will be racing here at the UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships in the women's under-23 competition for 2025. Let's go green, the kick off the starting point, and a real mess at the back there. You could just see riders dropping back through the grid there, and that looked to me like that was going to be a bit of a problem for the riders chasing through. I think that was going to cause a little bit of carnage, but it didn't cause a crash, which is always good to see as these riders head off and away. Backstedt leading out with Sherry on the wheel. The Frenchwoman quickly up to speed, moving up into contention at the moment. Good ride already just coming from the rider Victoria Sladanova, just moving up in the red and blue shoulders, the alternate colours on the shoulder. Backstedt going around that corner so fast, having to get the foot out there for the slide. And round as Benfeld comes on the inside of Jerry. Just holds position, Ferguson tight on the inside, Wolf moving up and through there. Let's just take a look back there. We can just see Schreiber behind the Hungarian rider is in there, and it is Marie Schreiber doesn't get that great start there. So a real problem there for Marie Schreiber, not characteristic of her at all. Maybe the expectation of being the fastest starter, just enough to put her off there. Schreiber, though, quickly back into her stride, already moving up through the field. You can just see making a move on Benfeld, moves up, right around the outside, going to take the long way round here. She's riding over the top. She stayed in the pedals, and I tell you something, Sherry's gone up. Schreiber threads the needle through the middle there. Superb riding as riders behind start to slip and slide. You just saw Lucia Bramati go down there, rider who'd taken a silver medal in the team relay, sliding out on that big banking. The rest of this pack on the way through. Another slide there, that's Regina Bruckner. Just sliding down of Hungary. These riders really finding this section of the course very slippery indeed in both of our races today. A look at the volume of people down here on the course here at Liévin. A real sea of people. The banking at the back is pretty steep. It's pretty out of sight there, as we can see Schreiber pushing on here. Backstedt at the moment dropping down into 5th position and losing ground at the moment. Got to get herself back up to pace, back up to speed. Schreiber coming off the top of that banking, carrying so much pace and speed, able to ride, able to pedal away round and through. That allowed her to go between Jerry and Benfeld. Backstedt at the moment back in the fight, shoulder to shoulder with Schlatten over there as they take the right-hand turn away from us. Backstedt having problems on the banking in the distance as well, having to get out and having to run early over one of those little bankings between the section we've just seen and this section, just on the top of the camera shot, and it's allowing the gap to open up here. Marie Schreiber at the front of the race, already onto the steps behind then Celia Gerry of France, Leonie Benfeld of the Netherlands. Then it's going to be Backstedt of Great Britain just behind. Sladanova is in contact here, so Sladanova certainly looking, the Slovakian rider, like she has moved up in to pace very, very quickly here in 4th position. Backstedt just coming over the top then, takes that 4th place away from her as Marie Schreiber front of the race here, starting early. Kicked off from that race start with a terrible race start, recovered from it incredibly fast, running with the bike to her side as Leonie Benfeld puts the bike on the shoulder, adjusts the pedal with one arm behind her back there to do so. Backstedt onto her heels here. Behind a real battle, you can just see we've got Imogen Wolf leading this group up from Great Britain, just ahead of Lucia Bramati of Italy, and Isabella Holmgren just in that mix there from Canada. Kat Ferguson alongside her, Lopez said San Roman also from the United States in the top 10 at the moment, ahead of Dudorova, Vevloft, Muller, Gazlazo and McLean Howe rounding out the top 15. But the French woman leading out, Celia Gerry leading the race from Schreiber, and a chase coming from Backstedt. This is going to close back down again, I think. We're going to take a left turn. We've got a big descent coming, dropping down here. They've got to make sure that they get this absolutely nailed. At the bottom, there's a really deep rut. It's about 20 centimetres deep on the inside of that left-hand bend. In between the races, to go a quick sprint over from the commentary box to try and get a look at some of how deep these ruts have been going. And they really are starting to
to build and really get very deep indeed. Next one's got an even deeper section on some of the left-hand tight left turns, where it's breaking up. Here it's a straight drop down to the bridge. The leader, Jerry, punches away up over the top. Schreiber out of the saddle, the last few pedal strokes. Backstedt, then Benfeld, being followed by Schladenova. Then it's Holmgren, Ferguson, Wolf, Lopez, Lozano, Man and Bramati, rounding out the top 10. Changes behind though as Muller, Dudarova, McLean, Halver, Lofton, Vancinia trading places here on lap number 1. The trip into the pit. Well, that has handed the lead back to Backstedt, but it's a clean bike for Schreiber and for Jerry that time round. Jerry left foot out there, just tried to pull up, tried to get the power down. It just came unclipped. She won't have wanted that. She needs to get clipped back in. It is a clean bike, so it shouldn't have any debris in there. Next left-hand turn, big rut on the base of this. You can see Schreiber just got the wheels in there and tracked it round the corner. Leading four, starting to stretch the gap out. 18 seconds back from race leader to Schladenova in 5th position. And a slide out for Backstedt, big fast slide out at speed, leading by 4 seconds as she came into that corner. 4 seconds is now 0. She gets clipped back in again. A speedy slide out there as Schreiber then comes unstuck as she goes up the bank in the mud is cutting up. Backstedt on the descent down here. Front wheel just goes away from her there, just steers it in, completely goes straight on at that point, loses all grip, loses all contact. Now, she didn't go in for a bike, and is she paying the price for that? I said just too much debris, too much dirt in those tyre treads. It's really starting to pick up on these bikes as the conditions change. And I think by the time we get towards our last race of the weekend, we could well be seeing those neck-ripping, sticky conditions as it starts to dry out. Now on to the camber back. This is still pretty frozen. The air temperature just rising above freezing. Backstedt foot out again. She's all over the bike. She's all over the place at the moment. Really struggling with those conditions. She's got to pick the pace up, reset herself. Incredible bike handlers that we've got on the course, and even riders like Leonie Benfeld just struggling with the conditions here. The changing conditions, a lot of the practice done on frozen conditions here, though slippery conditions, real cyclo-cross, absolutely cracking classic cross conditions, slippery, cold, lots of greasy sections, lots of deeper, muddier sections. Backstedt quickly back up to a pace, sprints away into the race lead, a wipe of the hand behind her there before she did that remount to make sure that she had grip. It was muddy still from hitting the floor. And Backstedt just leading Jerry as they come round. Left turn chicane coming towards the end of this. And a point down there by Backstedt. Has she got an issue with the rear tyre here? She's out of the, just gets bounced out of the ruts there. But on to the tarmac they go. And I think some instructions going from Zoe Backstedt back to the team. It doesn't look like that tyre is driving. She's been sliding about. No, that slide out came from the front rather than the back particularly, but certainly maybe wanted to lose a little bit of pressure to get a little bit more grip in those tyres. Backstedt, Jerry come to the end of lap 1. Schreiber closes down the gap on that straight, using the power on the road, bringing the gap back down again to become 3, leading 3 clear. The gap back to Leonie Benfeld, 7 seconds as they cross the line immediately behind her. Well, looks like we've got Schladenova, the next rider due in. The gap between the race leader though and Schladenova rolling around the 30-second mark towards the end of lap 1 into lap 2. 3 riders clear. Heading round towards pit number 1. What's the instruction coming in from Backstedt? She's going to go in for a bike change for certain. This is going to cost her time. Sherry's going to continue onwards. That bike exchange quickly done. The bike handed to the mechanics to go run down into the pit to clean off, and then they'll work on the mechanical issues. Behind Schreiber also taking a bike as well. And that's a bike change, and maybe not quite as smooth as Backstedt's there. Now this on lap 1, this is where we saw Schreiber ride right round the outside of the banking. This time round, off and running, slippery still as Jerry goes for a slide, remounts, doesn't get clipped back in again. You can see the riders just trying to drive the momentum. Now Schreiber was on the lower side of this slope. She couldn't use the slope to gain momentum there. Jerry had gone high and had managed to keep enough momentum, and although it looked ungainly getting back on the bike at that point, it allowed her to keep the momentum rolling even though she wasn't in the pedals. Just keeping that movement, keeping that drive, really critical. Backstedt back into race lead. Jerry, second place. Schreiber in third place. Schreiber with that gap reopening once again.
More than 25,000 of people already on this venue, on this amazing venue where the 76th edition of the
Oh, you can see the mud spraying off that back tyre. It's like having an outboard motor that's into the water. It's just throwing the mud up. It's throwing the spray up behind the race leader as she comes into a camera shot round the turn and then out and away from us. The riders at the moment in one line, separated by a few seconds between each of these riders. Backstedt, Jerry, Schreiber and Benfeld, you're leading the 4 riders in the race in the women's under 23. But during the course of this race, all 4 of them have been up to the front of the race. It's not been a done deal on lap 1. On lap 2, Backstedt into the lead now. She has changed bikes. We've seen her slide out before. She's got the race lead. She's got the power. Can she keep control of that power? Up onto the steps. 5 seconds to Jerry. 9 seconds to Schreiber. 12 to Benfeld. 31 to Schleidenova. Behind Isabella Holmgren, currently in 6th place at 36 seconds. Ferguson at the moment for Great Britain in 7th place and 52 seconds down. We've got McLean Howell in 9th place at 1 minute. Then we have Vloft in 10th at the moment, 1 minute and 6 down on the race lead. Backstedt from Jerry, from Schreiber. The crowd's absolutely immense, well in excess of 25,000 people here today. I think you'll have heard possibly in the background Nico de Meiter, the speaker here, saying an absolutely massive crowd, and all packed down on those lower slopes as well as in the centre, watching the big screens and then sprinting across to the sides of the course to see the riders come through. Backstedt starting to open the gap. Last time check 6 seconds. And they held her on that one. They need to get this together. Jerry really working hard here, both Jerry and Backstedt, both riders in that team relay. Backstedt for the winning team for Great Britain. Her lap time was an 8:29 in the team relay. Celia Jerry's lap time in the team relay for the 1 lap, 8:58. It gives you an indication of what Backstedt can do if she can keep it together. Well, Backstedt not going down the centre line there, but going straight over the tree roots and the stones that are marked with that fluorescent paint just to stop the riders being unaware of them. If they choose to ride over them still, well, that is their choice coming through. Backstedt able to pick a line. Backstedt onto the bridge, out of the saddle at the base of that, using her power to accelerate up over the top. Jerry with the home crowd support, being chased by Schreiber, the Luxembourg rider, currently in 3rd position. Benfeld now settling into 4th place behind the final 4 positions, very close. Holmgren and Schleidenova, they're separated only by what is 7 seconds in 5th and 6th places. 4 seconds behind Schleidenova is Muller, and then you've got only another 5 seconds back to Ferguson, with 2 more seconds back to McLean Howell. And then 6 seconds to Vloft. Wolf currently in 11th place. Galazzo 12th. Bramati in 13th position. 14th is Vancini and Lopez de San Roman rounding out the top 15. Just not enough power, doesn't get the bank right there. Celia Sherry loses the position to Mary Schreiber. The place is exchanged, and now Sherry has to chase it back. Schreiber, remember, Celia Sherry moving up into the under-23 competition this year from the juniors. And Sherry taking that title in the junior competition last year. Murray Schreiber, 5th place in this race, lost at timeout. Certainly looking at the moment like she's going to have a better performance today, but it's a long way to go. We're on lap 2. The total race distance, the number of laps decided by the race commissaires, extrapolated out by them from the calculations of the timing for the first 2 laps, and that then will give them the indication of exactly where they're going to be and how many laps we are going to race here in the under-23 women's race. Our penultimate race here at Liévin 2025, the Cyclo-cross World Championships in this fantastic venue. Backstedt on the north-facing slope here. Dives down the steep bank and gets turned on the greener, grassier section that was opened up after the team relay sessions and those practice sessions on Friday. One of the very few course teachers that have had to really be instated just to make it that a little bit safer, just give a little bit more run out. Similar line by Schreiber, but almost heads to the far corner there, not steering on the lower slopes of that descent. Backstedt, though, sprinting up the steps, wanting to make the most of the gap whilst it's there. Jerry still struggling to get that foot back in. Every time the riders put their foot on the floor, they're going to pick up dirt and debris, they're going to pick up mud. Here, we've got a lot of leaflet, we've got a lot of small sticks as well. We've got quite a lot of fibrous substances in there that are really starting to bind it together. It's not just like smooth dirt or sand where you just got those grains. It really has a texture that is going to bind itself in a real solid lump. Backstedt, though, into the pedals, out the saddle, kicks up the straight here. This is going to be the end of lap 2 of 5 today. Backstedt leading from Schreiber, from Jerry Schreiber at 21 seconds go just before the start of the straight. 24 to Jerry. What will the time gap be when they come in over the line? 2 done, 5 in a total. Schreiber low over the bars as Jerry comes around the corner, takes a look up, sees where her target is. It's going to be a gel, just comes down from underneath the leg of those shores. Instant energy, instant hit, 20 minutes she should get in the system, and that's probably going to be hitting just as she comes into that last lap, taking full effect. We've got to see just how that works out for her. At the moment, though, needing to refuel behind Leonie Benfeld, closing down on Celia Sherry as Sherry tucks that wrapper out of the way, making sure it doesn't end up just littering on the course there. So the race now settling into a more predictable pattern than lap 1, as so Backstedt leading at the end of lap number 1 from Murray Schreiber by 22 seconds. Celia Jury, 37-second deficit to the race leader in 3rd place, and Leonie Benfeld with a 42-second deficit at the line, holding on to 4th place. 5th place at the moment, just going through the line. It is Isabella Holmgren. Holmgren moving into 5th position inside the top 5 for Canada at the moment. She's ahead of Schladernova, who on our last time check was in 6th position, and Holmgren really starting to get into her rhythm. How far up through the race field can she move? As we see Backstedt with a little bit of an issue here, just unable to get the drive, get that momentum going. Schreiber onto the wide line, cuts directly across, sets herself up. The gap between her and Celia Jerry, 22 seconds.
Tries to carry that momentum. This is where we saw Backstedt just come to a standstill. A little bit more momentum carried through there by Marie Schreiber. Celia Jerry, tight right-hand line there, takes the shortest route. She's going to run it. She's going to run the least distance, but she goes high to get momentum for this remount. Scoot the left foot and carries that momentum through well. Benfeld on the lower line already, clipped in though and chasing. The gap is coming down here. Jerry in third, Benfeld currently in fourth position. Both riders can see Schreiber in second place. Outside, although not out of mind, is Backstedt. And this is where there's a great view back. The riders really get a good time check and a good indication of what the gap is between them. It's heading for 30 seconds at the moment between Backstedt and Schreiber. Right turn done. Away from VIP, as you can just see coming in comes Marie Schreiber, second place at the moment, gets the power back down again. Can't play it too soon because she would slide around. We've seen people doing full 360-degree donuts pretty much as they come around that turn in some of our preceding races. This time round it's not a problem for Schreiber, as behind Benfeld has made contact with Sherry. They are together. Benfeld just on the inside. Just puts the pressure onto the youngster.
Last race this afternoon during the
Backstedt remounts that bike with the gap at the moment. The team from Great Britain out and round the circuit, giving indications of time checks, or as many of those team helpers in all of those teams will be giving time checks, indicating to the runners just where they are on course and how the race is progressing. Just outside the top five, you can see on your screens there's Holman Comfort at the moment, currently into fifth position. She's got a bit of work to do though to pull back into this battle for a bronze medal, because at the moment she is giving away what is going to be 30 seconds. A similar gap in fact from Backstedt to Schreiber as there is between Holmgren and a potential medal at the moment. So you can see Schreiber just ascending in front of the massed ranks of spectators at the side of the course. She's ascending as third and fourth place. Sherry and Benfeld descend down. They come around that turn. Benfeld starting to open a little bit of a gap as they come through. Sherry just rides a bit further onto the hillside there before she loses momentum. Sherry sprinting up there with the bike lowered down. Benfeld with the bike on her shoulder. Both riders back together. Just that extra few pedal strokes coming around the turn, bringing Jerry on to the back wheel, carrying that momentum through. It's so much about carrying momentum, carrying that speed. Backstedt down, misses the tree route this time round. Schreiber on her own, sandwiched in between our race leader and these two riders fighting for third and fourth places at the moment. Still carefully done there by Leonie Benfeld, very greasy now. Underneath the soil, underneath the surface is a real hard pack of stone, of soil, of minerals. So if you go down through the mud, and it does, the soil and the surface varies depending on where you are on the course. It's hard packed underneath, it's really solid. And it's a former mining site on the site of the Val de Souchet, reinstated and turned into one of the many parks that are out and around the area here in the former mining areas. That's reclamation beginning. The trees, all real pioneer species that jump in and grow fast here. Look over the shoulder there by Benfeld. How much gap have I got? How much distance have I opened up? You can see the wood chip just down at the base of the bridge to stop the erosion you often see when riders descend down from the bridges, putting that impact down. As through the pit goes Jerry. This will have a little bit more time, and you could just see the crew going across for Benfeld there, just letting her know that Jerry had gone in and now was the time to push on, maximise this gap. Jerry goes out, she has a bigger deficit than she had at the start of the pit straight. As Backstedt ascends in the saddle up that higher banking, dropping back down again. 24 seconds to Schreiber. Schreiber not losing too much time in this second section, of course.
Right foot out for Backstedt, taking the wide line round there, just letting it carry its speed round. Using the corner to take the speed off the bike. She comes around that banking, left-hand turn, still absolutely packed. More and more spectators going to the side of the course as the Union flag flies to the right of Backstedt. And the white and blue on the centre stripes on her back at the moment. She goes around the side. Matt Ellis, a good GB coach there, in position at the top of the banking, just giving time checks through. At the top of the run into the banking, ready to advise the runners need to take a different line. Really interesting points for those riders when they're going in a bigger team. They often get more advice, they do get more help. They will have more people out on course, give an indication of the best lines if there's been a change. Schreiber takes the same section here, going to be following, I think, pretty similar line. The last time she ended up in the corner, she does the same. This time takes a wider line round using all of that exit that has been increased since between day 1 and day 2 of competition. Now into the banking, 2 riders that have been very difficult to split so far. In the preceding lap, Sherry drops down. This is a section of the course which seems to have suited her more, and at the moment just drops into the mud, lets the bike continue through, lets it just roll its way through, carries the pace down, drops down the bank, recovers from a slide, so carrying speed. But maybe just taking a few more risks. Benfeld, when she got jammed up in the mud, lifted the front wheel back up, got her foot down. Ronnie Benfeld sprints back up these steps, still looking pretty smooth, pretty much under control here. Bike down, super quick remount there as Backstedt goes on to the straight. It's going to be lap 3 of 5 complete. We're over half race distance here, heading for 30 minutes of racing complete very shortly. Backstedt will start the stopwatch as she hits the line. The gap had gone to 30 seconds. Our last time check, it showed it was coming down. Let's see how much has it come down. Has it stayed the same? As Backstedt been able to put the power down on this climb? It was going down, it was 30 seconds, it's down to 12. So Schreiber on a real charge. The second part of this course really suiting Mary Schreiber. 12 seconds the gap between the race leader and second place. And she has extended her lead, Mary Schreiber, from Leonie Benfeld. And that is 20 seconds the gap. So Backstedt leading, Schreiber second place, 12 seconds down. Then it's Benfeld, third place, 24 seconds the gap between Schreiber and Benfeld. Then it's only 9 seconds between Benfeld and Jerry. Well, look at the lap times. This course is deteriorating. Going out on lap 3. Lap 1 is traditionally always very, very fast, but lap 2 was just as quick. Lap 3, though, really a big time difference that time around as the riders settled in. May well pick up on the very last lap, but at the moment the battles are more incremental. There's less side-by-side action as to go in through the sections of course, certainly in terms of the riders at the top of the standings. At the moment it's Backstedt in 1, Schreiber in 2, Benfeld in 3, Jerry in 4, Holmgren still holding 5th, from Schleidenova in 6th, Muller in 7th, for Schreiber, a little bit of a stall, does the dismount and just rolls backwards. And there's the bike stopping, and then a mistake there, the little bit of a slide, the bike rolled away underneath her, she's back onto those pedals. I think if you asked any of the riders their least favourite part of the course, it would be that bank as you come out from pit 1. You go out from pit 1, you do the turn, this right-hand turn. I don't think there's many riders that have really found it to their liking all the way through the races. They might have had a good run at it once or twice, but everybody having real issues from here down. The course design is making this really difficult. Sherry, though, always seeming to find momentum, always seeming to find speed on that section of course. Still not going to be a favourite part of the course, though, that's for sure. So at the moment, the top 10 separated by 2 minutes 47 seconds. Galazor at the moment from France, Jason Lopez de Saint-Romain in 9th place, with Clean Hell in 8th. Muller in 7th, Schleidenova in 6th, Holmgren in 5th, Sherry 4th, Benfeld 3rd, Schreiber 2nd, and Backstedt in 1st place. The gaps between the leading 4 riders really starting to stretch. Behind, though, the time gaps holding fairly similar. The big battle at the moment, or the closest racing, is currently between Lopez de San Roman in 9th place, Galazzo in 10th, and Wolf in 11th position. All those riders right next to each other on course, with Vlot Auto in the mix, all within about a second or two of each other, so certainly within the top 15 or so. Those are the closest races. It's not far between 13th and 14th place. That's Bramati from Spesna, and then 15th place Ferguson. Oh, she's currently 7 seconds down on Spesna, 3:11 down on our race leader at the moment.
Des marches pour Backstedt. Il y a toujours ce duel très disputé, très sévère pour la médaille de bronze entre la néerlandaise et la coureuse française. Backstedt and Schreiber reach another split point on this magnificent circuit of decision.
Just struggling to get into the pedals there. You could see Silly chasing Leonie Benfeld. All of them, though, left behind by the speed of Zoe Backstedt. Once she got clear of the rest of the riders and able to put that power down, really got into a rhythm. The bike change critical. It'll be very interesting to hear what happened, what caused the change, what did she get done in the pits. It was between a bike exchange where she really seemed to find her feet, whether or not the tyre pressure is just not quite right, whether or not she just wanted a different set of wheels in the bikes. But that change of bike, it really was like flicking on a switch. Then she found an extra gear, found that just that extra bit more confidence, the extra bit more grip required. Down the descent over the bridge, heading in towards pit number 2. The western side of the course, complete on lap 4 of 5, the penultimate lap for our race leader here today at the Women's Under-23 World Championship race here in Liévin in France. Backstedt leading 27 seconds, the gap from Schreiber. Benfeld in 3rd place. Sherry, after contesting and fighting for position in the first 3 of the race, dropping down into 4th position, and at the moment holding that from Isabella Holmgren. Holmgren currently 1:32 down on the race leader and giving away 40 seconds at the moment to Celia Jury in 4th. Backstedt forces herself over the top of that climb, over the top of the banking here. Schreiber in for a bike change, clean a set of wheels, clean treads, clean discs. Can she use this? Can she close that gap back down? It had gone down to 12 seconds, and she makes up the ground on the second section of the second half of the course. Really, that section in through pit 1 and to pit 2. Backstedt seems to have that slight advantage from pit 2 to the pit 1 or to the finish. We are seeing the advantage generally going back towards Schreiber, but it is constantly going out, although she pulls it back. She's overall over across the entire lap, losing ground. Backstedt down past the party test, down past the fan zones. To the lid of this course, a massive amount of infrastructure in here, lots of great places to watch. Plenty of people bringing things to make lots of noise with, as you would expect at a cyclo-cross. Fantastic to see so many people down here supporting the riders. Backstedt will have heard them on the way round the course. All the riders saying they can hear just the volume of noise here has been absolutely immense. So far, it's continued onwards. Backstedt down the cambered descent, as it's known, drops down on the inside line here. She's heading over towards the second set of steps on this lap behind Mary Schreiber. onto this same cambered section, onto this section where it drops weight in the shade, still in the dark, still frozen. And Schreiber, every time she does that, every time she takes that wider line, she's adding meters and meters. She's not carrying any more pace particularly around there, so sacrificing speed, increasing distance, but safer. That risk not worth going down that tighter line and turning. You can see Benfeld doing the same there, left foot out. Maybe that is just starting to defrost a little and starting to become a little bit more slippery, a little bit more risky, and that is why the rider's starting to take that line. Let's watch Cyclo-cross just coming into this same drop down section. Must be going wider. Definitely, she was going a lot tighter to that earlier on. Just goes wider that time. As she descends on that steep section, coming up the start-finish straight. So Backstedt takes a look across. She sees the bell. She can hear it ringing out. It's one more lap to go. The defending champion, Zoe Backstedt, a rider who has been absolutely flying, has concentrated on cyclo-cross all this winter, has now started to push on here, accelerating away from the rest of the race field on lap 2. She's now on lap 5 of 5. So Backstedt in 1, Schreiber in 2, gap back out to 26 seconds. Diani Benfeld hugging the barriers on the way up this slope. There's hardly any breeze here today. Any breeze that started the day just blowing the flags, it was blowing them down the finishing straight. It's very much disappeared here. There's hardly any breeze. It is a headwind on the climb up this finishing straight, but it's not enough, I think, to make a huge amount of difference to the riders. At the moment, there's no danger of them having to worry about how they deal with that in a sprint. A long look over the shoulder there for fourth place Cyclo-cross. She goes out onto her last lap, 1:24 down on the race leader. The race leader already on the exit from the pit zone. Up over the banking, carries that momentum down. She wants to keep that gap. She knows how dangerous Marie Schreiber can be, but the gap 25 seconds. And a last time check from first into second place. Here comes Marie Schreiber onto that same section of banking. Tight line this time, running the tighter section, doesn't go as high. Clips back in again, gets engagement, both of those pedals locking onto the shoes. Benfeld in third, heading into that same section, left 180-degree turn done. Into the bank. Let's take a look back at Zoe Backstedt coming up here. She goes really high. You can just see the foot, the pushing foot, the rear of those feet just sliding out. She goes down onto that left knee, absolutely covered in mud, as you'd expect, given the conditions here today. All of the riders having it thrown up from their tyres at them. Backstedt at the moment able to deal with that. The gap to Schreiber, it is still yo-yoing. That mistake did cost Backstedt sometimes 16 seconds. The gap had come down to. It's not all that long ago that Backstedt had disappeared off around the turn before Schreiber came into sight. And this has got to invigorate Marie Schreiber. She knows she's on her way. Backstedt, though, likely to respond. So Backsted's last lap, well, she'd done her fastest lap on lap 1, an 8:48. Lap 2 was an 8:54. Lap 3, a long lap, 9:23. Then down to 9 minutes, which means that her last lap was some 14 seconds quicker than Marie Schreiber. Schreiber with a faster lap at 3. With a slower lap 2, and she's got to pull a fast end to this lap out now, Marie Schreiber, if she wants to get back in touch with the race leader. 15 seconds, it's gone back up again. They can see each other as they come around these turns, go up and down these bankings. Schreiber, right hand turn, right foot out. Looking to keep it smooth down here, not make any mistakes, drops down. Left foot quickly out here, just puts the foot down. This is where we've seen riders slide out before, no problems this time round. Back onto the pedals, engages, gets that drive, tries to make up a few seconds. He's driving into the climb. Off the bike, pushing the bike, chasing Backstedt. The gap up at 16 seconds now. Benfeld chasing behind it, then it's Jerry behind. Holmgren still holding 5th place. The gap up between her and Celia Jerry still holding around about that 30-second marker behind Holmgren. Holmgren's pretty secure in 5th place. You've then got Schladenova in 6th, Muller in 7th, McLean Howell in 8th. Wolf in 9th place and Ferguson in 10th place. Only the top 9 within 4 minutes of the race lead. In fact, the timing showing us, in fact, Imogen Wolf now at 4 minutes and 1 second down on our race leader in 9th place. 10th is Ferguson, 11th at the moment, Vida Lopez de San Roman. 12th place, Vervloet at the moment. Those two riders very close together. Likely to see potentially their places change along with that of Simona Spesner, currently in 13th position. Only 3 seconds back is Bramati, and then it's Galazzo. So those positions from 11 down to about 14th, maybe 15th place, still up for grabs. Those are by no means decided. They're not even a fall. That's a little mistake. It could change all those positions. It's going to take a bigger mistake, though, to rub Backstedt. She comes over the bank. She's going down in towards pit number 2 on the last lap of the women's under-23 race here at Liévin in France. Big shout from the side of the course there. Just trying to make sure that Backstedt knows what she's got, what that time gap is. Big shouts out from Magnus Backstedt in the bright orange coat down there in the pit. He's going to win titles of plenty. Always overjoyed when she takes a win. One of her biggest supporters. I didn't say her biggest supporter, I won't go mad. Now, second place into that self-same pit number 2 goes Murray Schreiber. Clean bike for her. Not taking the risk of going out on a dirty bike for the last half of this course. 25 seconds of gap secure from Benfeld, who sits further back at currently just under a minute on our race leader. So Backstedt, Schreiber, Benfeld, Jury, Holmgren, Schladenova, Muller, McLean, Howell, Wolf, and Vervloet, the top 10 at the moment. Ferguson just dropped down to 11th place. Lopez de San Roman into 12th place, just moving back a little bit, so those positions still changing. Top 10 is not secure at all. Vervloet currently in 10th place, 10th to 15th. Well, they are covered at the moment by what is going to be about 10 seconds or so. So there's not a lot to choose between those riders so far in the just shy of 5 laps that they've done. So Backstedt always gives interesting post-race interviews and pre-race interviews as well. Be interesting if she takes this to the line, which is looking more and more likely that she will take the win. It'll be interesting to see what she has to say after the race here today. Ever-changing, a constant change of conditions. She's been down, she's been back up again. She had that change on the way through. And Backstedt takes that wide line now. All the riders having to do that, just carrying that momentum through. Around the right-hand turn, drop quickly onto the drive. Both feet still locked into those pedals all the way round. And the applause ringing out the side of the course. A very, very worthy champion in Backstedt at the moment, who has come back. A rider who's committed to cyclo-cross for the entirety of the season. She rode every single one of the rounds of the World Cup this year, from Antwerp right the way through to Hogerheide, who was in and racing. She dropped down from 3rd place in the Elite Series overall to 4th on the very last round at Hogerheide.
still had enough points to hang on to her race, series lead, in the under-23 competition. Backstedt taking the win in the World Cup overall from Mary Schreiber, from Leonie Benfeld. That is a replication of the positions in the race at the moment at the World Championships. Backstedt, Schreiber, Benfeld. Behind it, Sherry, Holmgren, Schladernova, Muller, McLean, Howe and Wolf. Those positions stay the same, but we've lost Spesner, Ferguson and Lopez all fighting it out. There's no one left to fight. So Backstedt, she was a world champion as a junior in 2022. She took the silver medal in 2023 as an under-23. She took the win last year. The defending champion takes the win once again. Under-23 women's world champion, 2 in a row, Zoe Backstedt. Well, Backstedt shakes her head like she can't quite believe it. Mary Schreiber still strapped up after the crash and after the incidents that saw her not finish. She took a tumble at Mass Mechelen, which was incredibly slippery and greasy. Incredible power of the mind to come back after that to race here after having withdrawn. She had a problem on the start line. She went backwards through the race field. A second place today, a silver medal for Mary Schreiber. And a great result for her and well deserved. A great season wrapped up with a silver medal and a podium here at the World Championships. As so Backstedt, you can see her looking down the straight to see who's coming in behind. And Mary is going to take that silver medal. Backstedt waiting to see the riders come in and through. So a win for Backstedt, taking away first place. A second place for Mary Schreiber. It's a third place here today for Leonie Benfeld, reflecting those World Cup positions at the end of the cyclocross season and reflecting, I think, just where the three riders are at relative to each other within the scene of cyclocross. Benfeld comes through. It'll be a bronze medal on that stage in the not too distant future for Leonie Benfeld. 120 down on the eventual race winner, Zoe Backstedt. So as Leonie Benfeld is congratulated by the family, she comes in over the finish line and heads off towards the warm-down zone. Celie Sherry, the home rider, the youngster who was the junior world champion at Tabor last year, a rider who has already seen a medal, a bronze medal in the team relay at the World Championships, comes through. She takes fourth place here today. The youngster showing that she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in that under-23 competition. It's going to be a fifth place today. Isabella Holmgren showing that fantastic promise that we saw when she took her junior world title in 2023. Certainly looking like today it is not to be maybe her day at the top, but it's sure to come. A great ride by her, moving up through that race field as the race progressed. So Backstedt with enough time to smile, to take in the applause, to take in the adulation of the crowd on that finishing straight. A look over the shoulder, professional all the way to the finish. So Backstedt, twice a world champion in a row in the women's under-23 competition. Well, that was a hard-fought race today out there on the slopes, on the muddy banks of Liévin on the side of the Val de Souchet, and she took the win there in some style in the end with a good gap, 39 seconds to Mary Schreiber. Schreiber coming through for a second place, a great return to racing for her after not finishing in Hogerheide. Second place, fantastic powers of recovery. A third place here today for Leonie Benfeld. Benfeld in the mix for so long and finishing third place, just ahead of Celie Sherry, who came through for fourth. It's going to be Victoria Schladernova, who comes through to take sixth place here for Slovakia, ahead of the rider from France, Isamandine Muller. Muller going to be taking seventh place here. So Muller, who took an 11th place in the Junior Championships,
moves into the under-23 this year, takes away 7th place as she goes in over the line. She comes through just ahead. This is going to be Ella McLean-Howell, a rider who represented GP in the mountain bike in the Paris Olympics, back on French soil and clearly reveling in the atmosphere here in France once again. Howell comes through, takes 8th place in the under-23 competition. She will be just ahead of Imogen Wolf. Wolf, her teammate for Great Britain. Great Britain placing 3 riders inside the top 10. The Netherlands are placing 2. All the rest of the nations will have 1 rider in the top 10. Imogen Wolf comes through, 9th place for Wolf in the under-23 competition. She's going to be ahead of Czechia's Simona Spechner, who will round out the top 10. The top 10 riders coming home over the line just inside 5 minutes from our race leader. Behind, well, it looks to me like Esther Vlot has taken the initiative. She's gone through and overtaken Lucia Bramati of Italy. Bramati is just behind.
Zoe Backstedt, huge congratulations, your 2nd under-23 world title in a row. Yet there were some crashes in the first lap. The first one was not on TV. What happened there?
Yeah, thank you first of all, but yeah, the first lap wasn't so smooth for me. I think maybe a little bit of panic in the end. It was really the complete opposite conditions to recon, and yeah, I think maybe just I think just adrenaline from the start of World Championships, and yeah, I just slipped on one of the corners and yeah, wiped out and was a little bit further behind, but yeah, managed to reset myself and come back to the front.
After a good 11 minutes of racing, you were alone in front, yet you were not at ease for the rest of the race.
No, for sure not. It was a really challenging course, different to what I thought it was going to be like, and yeah, it was a lot more slippery. Even the flat corners were, yeah, it was super easy to wipe out in places, and yeah, I was still having to push all the way to the line, so it made for an interesting race.
You asked for different tire pressure at one moment?
Yeah, I said at 2 points, I said, yeah, when I went into the pits, and also to one of the coaches out on the course that could radio to the pits, that I wanted to drop the pressure just a little bit to see what it was like, because yeah, I thought it would help. So yeah, once that had happened and once I changed to that low pressure, I felt a lot more comfortable.
What does it mean to snatch a 2nd rainbow jersey in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the smoothest of seasons. Of course, I won the overall Under-23 World Cup. But yeah, the start of the season was a little bit more up and down for me. But yeah, the last few races, especially Maasmechelen, really boosted my confidence. And yeah, coming into this one, I had the fire for it, and I was, yeah, I'm really happy to have come out on top.
Thank you, and huge congratulations, and still world champion, Zoe Backstedt.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Well, Zoe Backstedt led us into the secret of changing the tyre pressures, and she came in through. It certainly made a difference and made it more grippy, and that point about it being very different from recon, going out and checking out the course was very, very much the case for all of the riders. A great start by all the riders bar Marie Schreiber, but she was quickly back up to speed, threading the eye of the needle and diving in down in between the riders, in between Sherry and of course Benfeld, as she battled her way back into contention. Leonie Benfeld, the first of the 4 riders really to lose the front of the race as the 3 leaders pushed on. Backstedt at the front, but all of the riders having slips and slides. Backstedt though starting to get her speed and her rhythm back, starting to find the flow on the course, and then extending that race lead. Behind though, the battles came thick and fast from the riders chasing. Jerry stalling on some of those banks when Schreiber rode. Some of those descents, just a little bit more momentum being carried by Celia Sherry. Backstedt though, no real stopping her as she came out and onto her last lap. The gap had yo-yo from 30 seconds to 12 and then back out to 30 seconds again between her and Schreiber. Schreiber had pulled clear of Jerry in 3rd. A gel and an opportune moment. It took a little while to take its effect as Leonie Benfeld closed back down and then briefly went back in to 3rd place. Jerry responded. She got back past, but Benfeld then made it stick and carried it to the line. No touch in the race leader. A second win in the under-23 to add to her title in the Junior Cyclo-cross World Championships. So Backstedt 3 titles to her name in total. A second place for Mary Schreiber. She takes her, quite incredibly, her first cyclo-cross medal in her career, which is quite an incredible thought that she hasn't had a medal in a cyclo-cross championships yet. Mary Schreiber taking the silver, Leonie Benfeld taking away the bronze. You'll confirm results on the screen. And we're going to scroll on through Vida Lopez to San Román. Inside the top 15, a good ride by her to take that away. The USA national champion coming in 5:26 down. Sitting inside of 7 minutes, Lauren Mollengrath of the Netherlands at the start of the 21:30 listings here. You can just see, though, the time gaps opened up as the course has changed. It's changed from being a fast, almost pack, almost a crip race at times on fast frozen conditions into a real war of attrition with lots of riders coming down. All of our riders, though, finishing the race. No riders having to withdraw during the course of the race. Great to see all those 45 riders starting and all 45 riders finishing. One rider, though, is always destined to be a world champion, and in this case it's Zoe Backstedt from Great Britain taking away the race win, repeating her win from Tabor in 2024. Leonie Benfeld repeats her bronze medal from 2024, but this time the silver medal taken by Mary Schreiber. Schreiber's recovery absolutely stupendous on the way back from that injury, the fall down at Maasmechelen, the end of her season not going to plan. But Backstedt said she pressed the reset button. Well, Schreiber certainly did that. Good result. You can see happy with that. I think if you'd have said to her a week ago you would be in a silver medal, taking away the silver medal at the World Championships, she would have snapped your arm off at that. She wouldn't have thought it possible, but it certainly happened here today. Leonie Benfeld, third place, repeating that third place in the bronze medal from 2024. 2 podiums in a row for Leonie Benfeld. Great result. So Zoe Backstedt congratulates Marie Schreiber, and Mary Schreiber congratulates Zoe Backstedt. They may battle it out on the course, but the camaraderie within the peloton, within the cyclocross field is fantastic to see. So Backstedt with big hooks for Matt Ellis, the head of the GB team here today, putting in his steps, running around. So great racing today out on circuit. Plenty of fans making the trip out and into Liévin from across the various nations, not just of Europe, but from around the world. The course getting more and more packed as the time goes by. Seeing various flags, not just of the nation, but also of the region. You can see the Aquitaine flag from France flying. The ancient kingdom region in France. It's marginally warmer down there than it is in northern France here today. Not by a huge amount. It is still sunny down there apparently, and they're just not making the way through. I think they've got to take the prize for the biggest flag on site here today at the moment, in amongst the vast volumes of spectators. So time for the riders to plan what they need to do next to head off. If they're a medalist, that's going to be to the stage, the backstage area, ready for podium presentations. If it is one of the rest of the riders, well, they're going to get cleaned up, they're going to get warm, maybe going to celebrate potentially the end of the cyclocross season. But for many of them, they will still be racing. We still have a number of the racing series still up for grabs, and more racing to come in through towards the end of February. So all but one of our races are complete here today, and that is in fact for the whole of the race weekend. And we are going to see the men's leads take into race start in a short while. as the GB fans across from the podium all get their moment of fame. Hello, Mum, I'm on telly. They can just see him directly across from the stage at the minute. They'll be making plenty of noise. I'm sure the Zoe Backstedt Supporters Club is definitely there. That is for certain. We will be heading for that medal ceremony very shortly indeed. Plenty of the fans are not moving from their spot on the barriers. The prime positions taken and being held, guarded fiercely. The only reason you're allowed out is to go get more liquid refreshment. Oh, it must be 10, if not 12, if not 15 people deep all the way around that section of the course. And that's on the sunny side. You don't see it that deep. It's not quite that deep on the northerly, colder sides. That's actually one of the nice south-facing slopes here in the Val de Souchet. It's one of the ridges before you go over that bank and drop down the other side. You end up at the Canal-like River. It's just been artificially straightened as the reconstruction. It's been reinstated from the initial winding run through the valley, because of course a long history of mining in the area around Lens, around Liévin and around Arras as well. This northern area of France, a real hotbed of mineral extraction. When that finished and when most of the pit areas closed, this pit closing in the 80s, well, then the reinstating of the land that was there before began, the sculpting. This park can now playing host to lots of great sports, everything from frisbee and disc football right the way through to orienteering. Big BMX track, a full-level BMX track that plays host to the National Series here in Liévin as well. BMX racing track just at the top of the back of the pit area, just adjacent to the roadside. Cyclo-cross here for the duration of the weekend. And the setup started a long time ago, planning for this even longer before that. And this venue that has seen rounds of the French National Cup, the European Championships, the World Cup, now playing host to the World Championships. 6 races complete, 1 still to go. The much-awaited clash at a World Championships between Wout van Aert, who announced he was riding at short notice, displacing Jens Adams from his place, and a certain Mathieu van der Poel. You can tell where either of them are on course by the volume, believe me. And I'm sure we're going to hear some volume now, because it's time for the medal ceremony for the UCI Under-23 women's race.
Of the 2025 UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships in Liévin.
Voici la cérémonie protocolaire des championnats du monde de cyclo-cross UCI 2025, catégorie femmes moins de 23 ans.
Official award ceremony of the 2025 UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships in Liévin for the women under 23 category.
Les médailles et le maillot seront remis par Monsieur David Lapartien, président de l'Union cycliste internationale. Les fleurs seront remises par Monsieur Laurent Duporge, maire de Liévin et vice-président du conseil départemental du Pas-de-Calais.
During this ceremony, the rainbow jersey and the medals will be presented by Mr. David Lapartien, the UCI president. Later on, the flowers will be presented by Mr. Laurent Duporge, mayor of the city of Liévin.
À la 3e place et vainqueur de la médaille de bronze représentant les Pays-Bas.
In her place and winner of the bronze medal representing the Netherlands, Leonie Bentveld.
The second year taking the bronze medal. A very happy Leonie Bentveld, presented a medal by the president of the UCI.
À la 2e place et vainqueur de la médaille d'argent représentant le Luxembourg.
In second place and winner of the silver medal representing Luxembourg, Marie Schreiber.
What a race for Marie Schreiber. More ups and downs than a roller coaster.
from not getting that fantastically famous start to slips and slides. A comeback from injury takes away her first cyclo-cross World Championship medal. It's a silver.
Place, championne du monde UCI et gagnante de la médaille d'or représentant la Grande-Bretagne.
In first place, once again, UCI World Champion and winner of the gold medal, representing Great Britain, Zoe Backstedt!
So Backstedt pulls on her third rainbow jersey in cyclo-cross, a second rainbow jersey in the under-23 competition, defending that title. She took it to ball here at Liévin, presented with the gold medal as well to match the iconic rainbow jersey. All zipped up, the medal over her head there. She can take in being world champion once again. A phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal rider who has focused on cross and has got a rich reward. Winner of the World Cup and winner now of the World Championships in 2025. So the Pas-de-Calais area in the north of France playing host to the World Championships here in Liévin, and great to see not just the département but also the town of Liévin really welcoming the World Championships here into France. A fantastic job done. Nice job done for our medalists here today. Your top three here today. Liane Berfeld taking third, Marie Schreiber second.
En l'honneur de la double championne du monde UCI femmes moins de 23 ans, nous vous présentons l'hymne national de la Grande-Bretagne.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our new UCI World Champion, we present the national anthem of Great Britain.
Well, France may have beaten Wales in the rugby, but the Welsh, the woman who grew up in Wales, Zoe Backstedt, she takes the win here today in the under-23s in France. Backstedt, your world champion once again, third place. Liane Berfeld, second place, Marie Schreiber, world champion Zoe Backstedt, make their way down for the pictures, for the photos. We'll be trying to grab a few words with Zoe Backstedt backstage as well. So the riders leave the stage. It's time for them to start their duties as medalists, and of course get ready for the rest of their cyclo-cross season, because the riders are continuing onwards into the series, continuing here in Europe. The crowds, well, time for them to get themselves refreshed and ready for the last race of the day. Will we see another defending champion take away another win? Backstedt certainly did it in style here today. Arms outstretched as she awaits, punches the air in delight, because this was yet another victory for Zoe Backstedt, taking the win. It's her third world title in the cyclo-cross discipline, one of the many disciplines covered by the UCI, the Union Cycliste Internationale, the governing body for cycle sport worldwide. Great to see Zoe Backstedt keeping an eye on who was coming in behind who, was in that battle that she'd been fighting for a long time. So I think we can hear a few more words from the world champion once again.
Zoe Backstedt, congratulations again with another rainbow jersey. Let's go some deeper into that incredible race. After you went solo in lap 2, you created a 25-second gap, but then Schreiber clawed back to 12 seconds after 3 laps.
Yeah, there was a few points on the course where I could see like back and forth as to like gauging where I was this lap to last lap. And there was a few times where, yeah, I could see that she was coming back a little bit. Also on the finish straight, just looking at the TV screen to see on like the climb where she was. But yeah, there was a few places where I could really put some power down and really, yeah, focus on my strength. And then I was able to bring the gap back out.
When she clawed back, were you worried somehow?
Maybe a little bit, but I was also just trying to focus on my race and focus on the parts that I knew where I was the strongest, and I could really, yeah, use my advantage to the advantage. So, yeah, in the end, not too much.
Yet again, in the final lap, you struggled again a bit technically, and there was Mary again at 16 seconds.
Yeah, 16 seconds in the last lap, that's a lot to bring back. It's maybe one big mistake, but I knew as soon as I got to the off-camber, as long as I made it down that safely and it made it over that last hump to the finish, that, yeah, even if she was at maybe 5 seconds, I could still sprint that climb full gas and hopefully still take it.
At last, you won by more than half a minute, 38 seconds. There have been Tour de France's one bit that gap.
Yeah, Kazia is the example from this year, only 4 seconds at the end. So, yeah, it was a nice gap at the end, but still a really tense race for the whole time.
You're going to stay with the under-23 category for one more season?
I think that's to be determined after, yeah, the cross season next year. You know, now I'm done and I'm going to focus on the road and take in this other rainbow jersey. So, yeah, come back to me in just under a year and I can give you another answer.
Will you take some time now for playing with Lego to unwind after all the turmoil?
I think I deserve a nice big Lego set, build that in my off-season and then, yeah, get back into the road.
Thank you and enjoy this one. Many congratulations, Zoe Backstedt.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's amazing the different things that riders do to unwind and to keep their brain straight after a frantic season. And great to see Zoe Backstedt able to enjoy the fact that it's time for a big Lego set. There are some giant Lego figures actually walking around on the course. You can see them on the social media pictures if you go on to the feeds from the UCI. You'll also see plenty of images of that rainbow jersey that's signed by Zoe Backstedt, and she knows just what she needs to do. Get down there, get those jerseys signed, and the iconic rainbow banded jerseys. Amazing racing, great to see Zoe Backstedt take away the win and to still have that typical sense of humour that she has become known for. We've done all our racing bar one. Please come back and join me for the men's race. It's the last one, it's a cracker.